Howdy y'all, I'm in my hotel room getting ready to sand the proton physics. Got a PBA tip for y'all. Stay tuned, we'll get to it. So today's PBA tip for traveling with bowling balls is whenever you're parking somewhere, if it's a restaurant, a store, try and park near the shade because it will draw out the oil. And yes, that can be a good thing, but if it does too much, it can actually pool up on one side. So as the ball is going down the lane, you'll hit that spot of oil and it'll lose traction. So you'll have one side of the bowling ball being dry, one side being full of oil, and depending where it is in your track, you could have a lot in your track, you could have a little in the track, but it moves the weight around. And some of y'all may say the weight has nothing to do with it, but I order my bowling balls with a top weight, so that way when it gets drilled out, it loses that weight and it's more equalized for the core to do its thing. Now, some say that has no correlation with the newer bowling balls. I believe it still does, but that's personal opinion. It works for me. But if y'all are wanting to preserve bowling balls, because sometimes they will also crack while being in intense heat, and of course being in a vehicle of some sort, whether it be in a compact car or even a truck, they can crack from the heat because just being in that heat, it does something to the material, to the resin, and they can crack wide open. They even crack while in lockers at bowling alleys. So when it's in the heat, it's more likely to do so, especially if you all store it in the garage, it's likely to crack. But just a little extra tip, try and, as much as possible, park in the shade, or if you're pulling in somewhere, such as myself, and it's just say 11 o'clock, and I know I'm going to be in a spot for quite a few hours into the evening, I'm going to look at to where the shade's going to be getting to the vehicle in the evening, not to where the shade is at that moment. Because yes, the car will heat up, but it'll heat up continually, and then the sun beating on it will warm it up even more. So I'd rather park in a little bit more sun to start off with if I'm going to be somewhere for an extended amount of time, and then have the shade go there rather than the shade being on the vehicle and then moving. That's just my own personal preference. Some folks don't care about it at all. I try not to spend tons of money on bowling balls and then just have them crack because I'm like negligent about where I park my vehicle. So it's just a little extra tip, something a little extra helpful. Getting ready to bowl the PBA Earl Anthony Open at Earl Anthony Lanes. Very excited. It's been a lot working on the videos, so I apologize if they're coming out a little bit later, but just getting plenty to do. But that tip, I find it to be very helpful. If y'all use it, let me know. If y'all have parked in the shade and it still cracks, let me know. Depending on the heat, altitudes, because if you go up and down altitude, it can change heat rather quickly, and that can change whether the bowling ball would crack or not. But let me know in the comments if y'all have that happen, if you have them crack at home, crack in lockers at the bowling alley, or in a vehicle. I'm very curious to know, because I'm always trying to better myself. I'm always trying to hear what other people have to say, what works, what doesn't work. It's all about learning. I'm not on here saying that I know everything, because I certainly do not. There's tons of people that know a lot more than me. So I'm always on the learning side. I'm always trying to gain that extra advantage by learning this extra tip, this extra trick. Practice more on this, practice more on that. And one thing is not having cracked bowling balls. So I hope you all did enjoy. It's a tip that some folks know about, but surprisingly a lot don't. So I hope it does help, and I'll see y'all in the next video.